Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and have ourselves a drink.
All right, and with Michaela singing, that means we are back in the lobby bar for a brand new year, January the 6th, 2025. Brian and Michaela here with you today. And Michaela, we made it. We made it through the end of the year. We drank a lot of champagne. We drank a fair bit, I guess, on New Year's Eve, right? Right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember most of it, so it can't be that bad. But yeah, I do remember
It
we had a
felt
lot
like
of
we did.
bubbles. I mean, look, the drink that we made, I was very happy with
Mm-hmm.
the blackberry thyme, simple syrup infused stuff,
Yeah.
with the gin and the bubbles. I mean, that was tasty.
Hmm.
We had a lot of bubbles. We did a lot of bubbles, and bubbles aren't really. I mean, you'll do them, but that's not your go-to. So I was pretty impressed with
That's
how
true.
many of those we put away.
Yeah, normally the bubbles are reserved for 2 nights a year. That is New Year's Eve and also Oscar night.
That's
Save
right.
the bubbles for that. I guess other celebrations call for bubbles, and maybe you should just have bubbles more frequently. Just celebrate the little things in life, or just have a nice bottle of champagne with dinner. That is good too. But Michaela, we imbibed too much, which is bound to happen from time to time. Not really. We did good. We stayed indoors. We stayed safe and had a really nice New Year's, and that's the most important thing there. So hopefully everyone had a really nice New Year's, had a good New Year's Eve celebration. Hopefully you caught up with our 2024 year-end recap last week and learned how we made our cocktail and all that stuff. It was a really fun time going back through the year, looking at what was 2024, and now we can look ahead to 2025. But starting out the year like we have the last couple of years, I thought we should get back to our basics, Michaela. Let's talk about mocktails.
Let's talk about mocktails. For those of you who have been living under a rock, mocktails are like the new thing.
They
There's
are,
so
yes.
many things on social media. There's so many new alcohol-free spirits that are out that are
Hmm.
for folks that either want to take a break, are just living a sober life, don't like the taste of whiskey or gin or whatever. I don't know if that's the route you want to go because taking the alcohol out of them isn't. I don't know if that changes the flavor that much, which is really kind of cool. There's so many things where times where people who are pregnant, I remember
Hmm.
having to
Yep.
like give pointers to my friends who were like not telling people that they were pregnant yet. And they're like, I'm going to a bar and I'm going to look like an idiot if I have a Diet Coke. And it's so much easier now to like sneak in an alcoholic drink that no one will know about. And so it's really exciting actually to be able to look through some of these alcohol free spirits and give our
Mhm.
rating to them.
Yeah, for sure. And dry January has been a thing going back now for quite a while. And we've been doing our best here in January to kind of prop that up and come up with some mocktails and things like that. But one of the things we've never done here in our mocktail month is really talk about non-alcoholic spirits really too much, right? We've come up with some different mocktail recipes
Right.
for everyone, throughout the years, but we've never really talked about spirits themselves in terms of the mocktails. And now, there's a whole wide range. I feel like when we started the podcast, it hasn't even been that long, but now there's like a whole like aisle. Like I'll go to my local Total Wine, and there's just like a whole like entire aisle of different non-alcoholic like pre-made cocktails of just liquor of wines of beers. It's gotten very, very popular, and wanted to kind of talk about those a little bit here and see if you've had any experience with these, Michaela. So just doing a quick little search of my Total Wine here before we hopped on to the podcast. There's a bunch of brands. Like I mentioned, there's a whole aisle. Some of the bigger ones out there that you'll see are like Free Spirits or Ritual, Spiritless. Liars is like a higher end one. You'll see that one at a lot of cocktail bars and things like that for their non-alcoholic spirits. But the one that I like the most, maybe the most well-known, hails from London, England. So these are all going to be based off of different gins, and we can talk a little bit about the different varieties they have. Not a sponsor, but could be. But that is Seedlip, and the one we're going to be talking about today specifically is the Garden 108. But before we get into the mocktail this month, Michaela, do you have any experience really with the mocktail game, with the alcohol-free spirits game, I guess rather?
Yeah, a little, not super a lot. I will say that I was very hesitant, very uh what's the word? When you don't quite believe it, I was like, how
You were a
good?
skeptic. A
Yeah,
skeptic
that's it. I was very
is the word you're
skeptical
looking for.
because gin, gin to me, or like a non-alcoholic vodka, that's fine. That's fine. But like tequila and gin and whiskey, to me, those have such a deep kind of varied profile flavoring. Like how are we going to know? And I guess that's the whole point, is that you don't know. One thing I will say is, if you're on a budget, going the alcohol free route is a lot less expensive, especially in terms of like whiskey and bourbons. As you know, my husband loves, ridiculous whiskeys, and they could be like $100 a bottle, versus
Mhm.
the free spirit of bourbon, which was the very first one that I ever tried. It's like $30 most of the time, most everywhere you can get it. And it's like, I can drink three of those. Quantity, maybe not quality. It just depends. It won't kill you to drink three in one time. That's kind of cool.
It definitely will not. Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind that the production levels of these have gotten really, really good over the year. There's been like non-alcoholic beers for a long time, but there not really been any like care put into them until more recently, as people are going this alcohol-free life. And the Seedlip is one that I like a lot, and it talks about kind of their history on their website. I'll put a link to it down in the description with the podcast episode. But it talks about, having to make these different, macerations of these different flavors, and then, blend them back together just like you would with any other gin or, tequila or whiskey, or, mostly gins here in the case of Seedlip. But, it really is kind of amazing to me, how close these can get, and they work perfectly in cocktails. Now, you're not going to pour yourself a bottle or a glass of like NA bourbon and then drink that and say, oh, that tastes exactly like a bourbon. But you might be able to put it into a whiskey sour and be like, that was a pretty good whiskey sour, right? And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're using the Seedlip. This is the Garden 108 that we're going to be doing. So off of Seedlip's website here, it says that it is a fresh herbal blend of traditional garden herbs, including rosemary, thyme, and spearmint. There. So that's going to be a more garden forward. They have a couple of different flavors here on Seedlip's website. I encourage you to go take a look at those. The spice is another one that's really nice. It's cardamom and allspice with fresh citrus. That one's really, really good too here. But we're going to be making the Seedlip Garden Spritz. So, Michaela, check this out. It is just 2 ounces of your Seedlip Garden 108, or any other non-alcoholic gin you want to use here, or probably a non-alcoholic vodka if you have one of those. And then you're going to top it with some elderflower tonic and garnish with a sprig of rosemary. So it is your stand-in for the gin and tonic here this week as we go into dry January. One other important thing to note here before I turn this over to you, Michaela, is that the Seedlip here, by all accounts, appears to be calorie free, which is versus your gin, which is definitely not. So there you go.
So I think I'm going to have to maybe really rethink this whole alcohol-free lifestyle then. Are you kidding? There's no calories in this?
Yeah.
I mean, look, tonic is quite caloric. It's shockingly caloric with how fresh and like nothingness in effervescent that it is, right? It's basically a giant vat of sugar. But
we're not going to talk about the amount of calories in your elderflower tonic that you're going to be adding to this, but
yeah,
the gin here, yeah, is calorie free, and most of the NA
that's amazing.
liqueurs and cocktails and beers and wines are very low on the calorie scale. Some of them do have some sugar re-added to them, honey or agave or something like that, to help kind of mimic that alcohol sweetness. So they'll get a little bit of sugar and calories from that, but by and large, it's a great multiplier less of calories that you're taking in too.
Oh,
So not only do you
man.
have no hangover in the morning, you're also going to be more ready for your workout, I guess maybe.
Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. I'm one of those freaks that doesn't get a hangover, but my waistline definitely will enjoy a few more of these. And guilt-free. How about guilt-free living in 2025? That'd be nice. It's like I had 5
Feel free living.
cocktails last night and they were all mocktails. So good on ya. I'll be running with the beasts in the morning. This sounds great. I'm so excited.
There you go. Keep that guilt-free in mind. Spoiler for when we talk about our cocktail for the main show this week. So, Michaela, we are into the new year. We just had the Golden Globes last night. Golden Globes are back. For everything that I read about them, I wasn't able to watch them myself, but I guess Nikki Glazer, who hosted the Golden Globes, apparently did very well. People seem to be pretty high on her opening monologue and did a good job. And kind of went through the awards. Golden Globes kind of kicks off this season of awards that we're going to be paying attention to as we make our way towards the Oscar season, which is upon us now. I think voting starts here in about a week, and then we'll get our actual list of nominations kind of the following week. But just a couple of highlights here from the Golden Globes. Wanted to make mention of these if you're keeping track at home for your own Oscar watch. Best Picture in the drama category goes to The Brutalist, which neither of us have had a chance to see. I don't think that that's made it to screens at the Regal theaters. I think it's been exclusive to AMC's so far, so you might have had a chance to see that depending on where you live. And then the Best Picture in the musical comedy category goes to Amelia Perez. I think that we have both seen that. That's available on Netflix. You can check that out and get ready. That one did really well. Here at the Golden Globes, it's probably going to be nominated for a lot of categories come Oscar time, so definitely want to get that one watched. But a couple of other things I wanted to make mention of here, Michaela, and then I'll turn it over to you. Shogun, which I believe is on FX. That basically swept all of the things. It won the best television series in the drama category. I think it won best actor and actress in those categories as well. So good job there to Shogun. And give a special shout out to Jodie Foster, the one and only, who won her Golden Globe for best actress in a limited series for True Detective Night Country. Michaela, what are your takeaways here from this Golden Globes? Anything?
So I think it's a big wake-up call to folks to go out and watch Amelia Perez. It seemed like a sleeper in terms of movie like award season, right? It had been on a bunch of lists and then it just like soared to the top to me in my mind in the last like month and a half. And the great thing about it is everybody can watch it if you have Netflix. So go check that out. One of the things that I also really liked, Wicked got a bunch of love as we knew that it would. It actually won for best like cinematic and box office excellence or amazingness or whatever. And I love that because it kind of did the same thing that Barbie did, right? Like it created this huge phenomenon that people are going to be talking about for years to come. I can't wait for the part 2 to come out next year when we're all going to be boohooing our little eyeballs out. It's going to be great. Let's see what else. I loved that Shogun got all the love that it did. Oh, also Hacks. It made me so happy to see Jean win. And again,
I think
Brian, you're the one.
I think
she did. Yeah.
Back to back.
Brian kept telling me that I should watch Hacks, and I'm always like 3 or 4 seasons behind everything because I have problems. Baby Reindeer. I have thoughts about Baby Reindeer. I'm glad it won because it was just so weird and bizarre. Yeah. But my favorite, honestly, I love that Gene Smart won. And why are we shocked that Jeremy Allen White won again for the Bear? I mean, he's won pretty much every chance. He wasn't there, but he did win. And that's pretty cool because the Bear's awesome.
That's right. He was in training to play Bruce Springsteen. I think we're going to see him on the big screen here and not too long doing that. Yeah, as long as the Bear is on, Jeremy Allen White's going to keep winning that award. I'm pretty sure. So that was the Golden Globes. Let us know if you had any takeaways from that or any snubs, wins, whatever the case may be. Drop us a comment and let us know that. Let's talk briefly about the box office here. Michaela, Mufasa finally makes its way to the top of the mountain. It takes the weekend with $23.8 million, followed by Sonic the Hedgehog Part 3, Nosferatu, Moana, and Wicked, rounding out the top 5. Wicked is inching very close now to the $500 million mark here domestically, so good job there on that. Got a new release coming out this week. Probably going to have to watch it for your Oscars in terms of visual effects. Which is kind of weird when you're talking about a music biopic, but we're going to be going to see Better Man, no doubt, which is the Robbie Williams biopic there. If you're not familiar with Robbie Williams, if you're any of our U.S. listeners, he's real big in England. Ask anyone in England about Robbie Williams. I'll tell you all about him for sure. On TV, we have the second season of the Goosebumps TV show. This is called The Vanishing. That is coming out this week as well. I really enjoyed the first season. It's kind of like this kid, like horror kind of thing. It was fun. And it, reminded me of, reading all the Goosebumps books growing up. So yeah, looking forward to Better Man, Michaela. You know who Robbie Williams is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a rite of passage. If I didn't, I don't think I would have made it past like the first date with my husband who is from the UK. So Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because it looks like the animation of the ape character is just really really well done.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and we covered Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? Which had this amazing mix of like live action and cartoon animation. This isn't cartoon, but it's really really cool how they mixed this live, like they made it a live action version, like what they've done with the Jungle Book and Mufasa and Lion King, but then they have a bunch of humans added into it. So I think
Hmm.
that's going to be really interesting. And Goosebumps, I mean, look, I grew up loving R.L. Stine. He was like my second favorite author as a child. And so I'm so happy that more and more stories are getting shared with the world, that are creepy and also like childish enough so it doesn't scare the bejesus out of my 8-year-old or 9-year-old. That's good.
That, that's right. It's just scary enough that you can still go to bed at
Just
night for
scary
sure.
enough to be creepy, but then it's
That's
okay.
That's right, absolutely. So you have both of those things coming out to look forward to out there. Let us know if you're going to be checking those out. And you can check out the podcast. Last week, as I mentioned, we talked about our year-end recap. So go hear our thoughts, our closing thoughts on 2024 as we have turned the page into 2025. And this week, we're going to be getting into one of the early 2000s comedy classics, that is Zoolander, a man with 5 syllables there, Derek Zoolander. So that is going to wrap it up here for this week's Lobby Bar. Let us know what your favorite mocktail recipe is, or if you have any really good brands you could recommend in terms of any spirits or cocktails or anything like that. Let us know that stuff on our social medias, all that stuff. Rate and review the podcast, and we'll talk to you next week in the Lobby Bar.